great meetings in Davenport, we've done great meetings in Des Moines, and we've done great meetings in Iowa City, but this is by far the largest meeting we have done in the state of Iowa. Let me begin by telling you something that I think other candidates for president will not tell you. That is basically the truth. And the first part of the truth is that no president, not Bernie Sanders, not anybody else, is going to be able to address the extraordinary problems facing the middle class and working class of this country unless we have a strong grassroots political movement. In other words, if any of you think this is a one-man show, that I can do it, you're wrong. This is an effort we have got to go forward together. And the reason for that, I say that because the reason for that, and again, very few people will tell you this, is that the powers that be in Washington, the billionaire class, the large campaign contributors, the lobbyists, are so powerful that the only way we can defeat them is when millions of people, just like the folks here in this room tonight, stand up loudly and say, enough is enough. Our government, our country belong to all of us and not just a handful of billionaires. Good friend of mine. You know, I disagree on some issues, but I have an enormous amount of respect and affection for him. In 2008, Barack Obama ran one of the great campaigns in the history of the United States, a really strong grassroots movement that started right here in Iowa. All across the country together, old people and young people, black people, white people, Hispanics. We did an extraordinary job. But Barack Obama, after he was elected, made one mistake. And that is, after building that strong grassroots movement, because he's a good guy, he thought that he could sit down and negotiate with Republicans, work out some compromises with John Boehner, with Mitch McConnell. They never had any intention of working out any kind of fair compromise. Their goal was to obstruct, and obstruct. And essentially what President Obama said to the people who elected him, he said, well, thank you for electing me, but I'll take it from here. Brothers and sisters, I will not make that mistake. I need your help. Not only to winning here in Iowa, to winning this Democratic nomination, but I need your help the day after the election. In other words, the way we bring about fundamental change in this country is when millions of people fight for a progressive agenda, when they look the billionaire class in the eye and say, you can't have it all. We are going to start passing legislation which represents the needs of working families and the middle class. matter is that politics really is not all that complicated. Media makes it complicated. Media very often makes politics into a baseball game. What are the latest poll numbers? How much money has somebody raised? But they make it into a soap opera about people's personal lives. That is not what politics in a democratic society should be about. What politics in a democratic society should be about is for us laying out on the table the serious issues facing our country and then coming together and resolving those issues. Tonight is do just that. What I want to lay out on the table, and in some cases raise issues that other people scarcely talk about, but I want to lay them out on the table and tell you my thoughts as to how we can rebuild the collapsing middle class. First issue that I want to touch upon is the fact that we live today in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But very few Americans know that. You don't know that you're living in the wealthiest country when you're struggling to put food on the table for your kids. You don't know that you're living in the wealthiest country if you can't afford to go to the doctor when you're sick. You don't know that. Living in the wealthiest country in the history of the world if you're paying off horrendous student debt. So my first point is, we are the wealthiest nation. If we were a poor country, we would have a different type of discussion. But as the wealthiest country on earth, we have got to think big. We have got to ask ourselves why the middle class is shrinking. We have got to ask ourselves why almost all new wealth and income is going to the top 1%. We have more income and wealth inequality in our country than any other major country on earth, and it is worse today than at any time since 1928, in my view. And this is what we've got to put right on the table. The issue of income and wealth inequality is a great